everybody. Welcome to the Punch Up Pod with Lila and Pat. Happy Sunday night shit show. Pat, are you feeling celebratory?
Oh, I thought you were going to say, are you feeling shitty?
Are you feeling shitty?
Are you shitty enough for the shit show tonight?
Do you feel
yes, I am.
prepped?
I'm very celebratory. I'm drinking Boogie Bus by Revision Brewery, local beer.
Oh, wait a second.
Yeah.
Wait a second. We got a challenge a few days ago.
No,
I took that challenge so seriously. I went to four different places to try to find a beer that was a 14.5% or above. And let me tell you, it was impossible in Greater LA. I did find.
What do you got there?
I got Père Noël. It's oh geez, am I gonna need my readers already? It is, oh no. I misread it. I thought it was 11%. It's only 7%. I'm not even gonna have a sip. That's ridiculous. 7%.
Chug it. You just have to chug it.
Ugh. Well, anyway, it's Christmas. You probably can't see, but it does have, Father Christmas, Père Noël is on there.
Oh, excellent. I see little Santa. Yeah.
Yeah, he's pushing a pine cone or hugging a pine cone.
I forgot all about the challenge, and good job. I appreciate you doing that.
Well, I didn't think it was that difficult to find because I was once with my brother in some like small market in Cincinnati, and we picked out one IPA, and I didn't even look because it was for him. But then when I brought it home, it was 14.8 or 15%. So I thought, oh, IPAs, you can find that easily, but I couldn't.
No, IPAs aren't, but man, if I thought about it, but it was too late. It was like half an hour before the show. So I just went to my corner liquor store, which has one of the best IPA selections in town.
Right.
But when you get Christmas beers, they're usually stouts because people like a dark Christmas.
Right.
So it'll be like gingerbread, or something going with it.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get one. I apologize, but I will drink one soon.
Wine. All right. Well, if we maybe for the next, because now I'll have a week. It was and I don't know who it is on our chat here. It was Penimus. But I took it very seriously. I went looking for one, but now I will have a full week before our next show, and I will make sure I find something.
All right, same. And you will remind me this time.
Okay. Well, and I wanted actually the credit for being the prepared one, but then I kind of
you nailed it. You nailed it.
Hey, before we do our shout out to everybody, huge shout out to Kimmy for spending some precious hours of her 27th anniversary with us. Cheers and mazel tov. That is quite an accomplishment. 27 years.
Awesome. 27 in a row too, right?
With the same person, I'm assuming. That's amazing. Good for you. And 27 years, boy, that is a feat. We are at, what am I at? We met in 92. We started dating in 92. 30, but we didn't get married till 20. Yeah. I don't know what the math. I haven't even started drinking. It's a lot. 22, 90, 32 years. 32 years, but we've only been married since 2001. So you're beating us, Kimmy. That is extraordinary. Good for you.
Well, may you catch up and make Kimmy stay married forever and happy. And
that's right.
Can we get some socialism in here?
And as always, enormous shout out and thanks to all of our pup heroes and sheroes for being members. Thank you. You guys are awesome. We truly love the time that we get to hang out with you all. So thank you. Cheers. I'm not even going to open my Père Noël. I'm waiting till next Sunday. So I'm back to, I've got my Pinot Noir. Cheers.
All right. And I will have a good, healthy, hearty Christmas stout.
Okay, good. There you go. All right. Is that all we got before we get to the show?
I think so. Should we start with the cheers? I know we got which did we decide on? We had so many.
We're doing one of the Amazon ones, which I labeled and put in the cheers spot. That we discussed though.
Remember? It's not
that was
there
me.
On my screen.
Shut up. For real? Did you delete it?
I'm just telling you, StreamYard does its thing. All I see is
you know
LAPD.
What? I, for the second time ever, am wrong. I am wrong. No, we're going to cover a lot of the stuff with Amazon. But this is actually from Los Angeles, from an LAPD community meeting. We searched for hours today. I could not find this woman's name, but she is so fierce, and we are not alone in trying to figure out who she is. Like, get in line. People already want to marry her. She's awesome and so courageous.
She is. And it was posted by the Film the Police guy.
Yes. Yeah.
I forget his tag.
Great. It'd be so great to have him on at some point.
But yeah, he's amazing. And he was looking for the name as well. And he posted a lot of other videos from the same event where people were crushing it and he knew their names.
Yeah.
But I think she was the top dog here.
Yeah, yeah.
Because she cut them all down to pieces. And I was thinking of editing this clip because it's 3 minutes, but
it's really just good.
It's cathartic to hear this.
Yeah, totally. That's what we're looking for today is a lot of catharsis, actually.
So here we go.
Okay.
At the top of your little speech that you do every week, Southers, you say that this board is committed to accessibility for the community, and yet here we are still having these meetings at 9:30 a.m. on a fucking Tuesday, and you guys couldn't even manage to have your stupid community meetings in the third or fourth quarter of this year. Get it together. So there have been several donations in the past few weeks for various youth programs, and like many of the other speakers today, it honestly can't be said often enough that LAPD has no business running youth mentoring programs. It's objectively a moral cesspit. It's corrupt from the top down. The elected head of your fucking rank and file runs a security company which hires cops fired from the LAPD, which is very fucking scary, very hard to get fired from the LAPD. Some of them fired for violent offenses, hires them to be security guards at Walgreens, and then scams them out of their wages. The head of this accountability body is on the payroll of a genocidal foreign army. He legally used government databases to spy on his ex-wife. He started an organization which would employ a police officer who molested over 200 kids and never said anything about it, never distanced himself from it. And the stuff that I have heard in the last 2 years of attending these meetings is like, the fact that you think that you can run programs for kids is truly disgusting. And just off the top of my head, what I can remember, a new recruit arrested for child molestation, a supervisor fucking their subordinate on the job, and I think it was the wife of another officer, an officer who sexually abused a mentally ill woman and forced her to have sex with an animal. I mean,
Gabriel Spada.
You blew up a truck full of fireworks and killed people and blew up their houses. You beat the shit out of protesters. You kill people in high-speed chases. You shoot them in the worst moments of their lives when they come to you for help. And you have the nerve to run fucking youth mentoring programs? It's literally mind-blowing. I want to talk with my time remaining about something that happened on Wednesday. There was a sweep at an encampment in CD11. There is a woman there that I'm friends with who lives in an RV. She obviously is coping with a lot, and she was talked into voluntarily giving up her car to be towed by an LAPD officer. She didn't understand what was happening to her, and she wasn't allowed to get any of her shit out of her car, so she had no clothes, she had no underwear, she had no food. And you know what the dumbest thing is? When I call that fucking tow company, they'll let us come down and get her shit out of the car, but that LAPD officer couldn't give her 5 minutes to get her stuff out of the car before they took it away, and also tricked her into signing something, into voluntarily giving up her vehicle, which she did not realize she was signing. Fuck all you guys.
I love her so much, and I'm terrified for her because these disgusting, Gestapo will stop at nothing if somebody even shows them any resilience or pushes back at all. And she just, it takes so much courage. I'm so impressed, but I'm terrified. Like, we need to protect her at all costs.
Yeah, and I think one way you do that is in numbers, because the guy filming, the guy who turned the camera on himself, that was the Film the Police guy. He's in their faces all the time. He runs around LA, just you guys have all seen him, but but numbers, film them numbers. Yeah. There's a record now. Something happens to her. We're going to look back to this tape and go, who's involved in this? Not that will stop the mafia.
I mean, yeah, it will. Yeah. I was just starting to listen to American Exceptionalism. It's Aaron Good's podcast. It's really good. I think he's a professor at all right, I'm going to get everything wrong about him. But anyway, Aaron Good, he's great. But he was talking with an independent organization that has been trying to keep corporate media, hold them accountable for almost 50 years. And at the beginning, they start talking about how it's all like it's a mafia, like the whole thing is a mafia, and how the US government, and it's interesting because this echoes what Whitney Webb was saying on Brianna Joy Gray's podcast a few weeks ago about how the CIA took a lot of their tactics from the mafia. You know, it's like, and when you start looking at it like organized crime, I mean, it's what it all is. It's what our government is. It's what the CEOs are. It's what the WEF, and like, that's where we are.
And they're so entrenched that you got cops making $200,000-$300,000 a year, which is insane. They got a whole racket going on. I don't know if you've seen some of the videos going around about that, but I've known about this stuff for years because my mom was a judge for California employment law. And a lot of her cases had to do with cops, prison people, teachers, whatever. But, you know, they make a lot of these bars and people that want to hold events hire off-duty cops.
Right.
They make them.
Yep.
And at that point, they get paid like pay and a half, and they get their day's work. So now there's an
call
epidemic.
In sick sometimes. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Exactly. There's an epidemic of them calling in sick.
Yeah.
And then collecting that pay and their pay and a half plus pay. So they're getting 4 times almost their regular pay for doing work that it's mandated that cops get hired in these contracts to do the security.
It's insane. It's not exactly the same, but the like the Ubering of nurses, I can't remember what it's called. They're like traveling nurses. So first of all, it's horrible what it does to patient care, right? Because first of all, these nurses get paid more when they're just hired out like as a gig. And the company saves money, the hospital, because they don't have to pay into their benefits or any of those extra things that go along with having a full-time employee. But the nurse comes in, the gig nurse, makes more than everybody else who's just like a regular member of the staff. And it disrupts care because obviously he or she doesn't know the way all these different new hospitals and the floors work, and like there's a lot of missed moments for patient care. And it also causes, of course, a lot of strife between the regular employees and the incoming, gig nurses. It's just like every single industry is going to end up being like a gig economy. And they'll get people because they'll pay you more at the beginning because you don't have benefits, you don't have job security, you don't have a retirement, you don't have any of those things, but everybody's just desperate for money, right? So like, oh man.
Yeah, it's crazy. The system is designed to extract money from all of us for the people at the top. And the people at the top don't care about what level of care you get. They don't care that people don't have health care. They don't care that healthcare is shit. None of that stuff matters. It's just optimizing profits. It's like, some of these hospitals I saw a study or something on it where they put nurse wards against each other, like first floor ward against second floor. They create competition where there should never be competition.
Right. Except how do we provide the best care together?
Right. Oh, it was like it was day crew versus night crew. So,
oh my God.
The study showed that they were not intentionally, but there's sort of a sabotage element because you want to win.
Yeah.
Versus let's
turn those beds. Like how we would turn tables when I used to wait tables. That was you want to turn as many tables as possible so you get more tips.
Yeah. So capitalism is not the answer for everything, for anything, but like
anything. Yeah.
There's some industries that should not be run by any capitalist interest
at all.
Healthcare tops the list.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, anyway, cheers to that woman. If anyone finds out her name, please let us know because as
come on,
saying, you'll get the punch up bump. But like the more people know who she is, the less likely, I hope, that something bad happens to her. But anyway, good for her. Cheers to her. Let's get started, right?
Yeah, let's do it, but let's spin too.
Let's spin. All right, here we go.
Yeah, baby.
Look at that. What do we even have?
Thomas Frank? Thomas Frank.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Black Panther. Black Panther.
Yeah.
Why are the Black Panthers building their own medical center?
Well, first of all, the Black Panther Party, attuned to the needs of black people and other oppressed people, is open a free medical center for the same purpose we open a free breakfast center, free breakfast program. It's to let the people know that we are concerned with their basic needs and desires, and also to educate the people to the fundamentals of socialism, and also to heighten the contradictions within this capitalistic system. When I mean heighten the contradictions, all I'm saying is that let the people be aware of the fact that the Black Panther Party, an organization which only been existing since 1966, is taking care of people, helping them as far as health care is concerned, and the federal government, with all its wealth and resources, not doing anything on a major scale. You know, we in the Black Panther Party believe that there is violence in this system. When I say violence, I'm not talking about the overt violence usually associated with the club, the knife, or the gun. I'm talking about the violence perpetuated.
That was in 1968. Black Panthers were giving free breakfast, free health care to their community. And that's, I mean, it's so amazing. I think Fred Hampton was 21 when he was killed. And that kid's even younger, and saying, like, they really took their opportunities to spread the word about what we could be doing as a society and socialism. And that's why the FBI went after him. Can't have that.
And I mean, it just reminded me, I was watching another special on I forget what they're called exactly, but it's sort of like community healthcare. It's this group that doctors have basically formed their own hospitals around the world, around the US, where they're bypassing insurance companies entirely on them.
Right.
So they went from, I don't know, 10 years ago, you only had like 20 of them in the US or something. There's like 2,000 plus now. Wow. And you still need insurance for certain things that they can't treat in-house, but they're not charging insurance. There's no middleman on anything they do. And their patient care is like, every doctor has, I think, 25-ish. I'm pulling numbers out of my butt. People that they see in a day that they're responsible for versus, I think it's 40 or so in most hospitals. So the numbers are much better. The patient care is much better. The people working there are much happier. It's a win-win for everybody. And it's just people on their own finding a solution. But like, it's such a big problem. You can't really do that across the world, but
I know it is a big problem, but that's a great solution. Part of the issue also obviously is we force our students, our medical students, to pay for their medical training, which puts them in enormous debt, which makes it less likely that they can do things that actually benefit, most of society, which is, I think, probably why a lot of them go into certain specialties which make the most money and maybe are the least necessary sometimes, like there's
and all the industries are set up like that, like laws like that. You go to law school, you're in
a public defender and then
$150,000 $200,000 worth of debt, and you're like, well, I always did this for the right reason. I want to go into public defense or whatever. But you're like, well, I'll do this for 2 years and make some money and pay off my loans. But then you're trapped into you're already in the system. You're like AOC going to to Congress. And they wave partnership in front of you, and they wave all these things to get you more money, and you never really get it. That's another part of the hustle, but it's
and there's no way to pay off your debt in 2 years anyway. Right. So which is intentional. Like you're never really going to be able to just spend 2 years trying to pay off your student loans. So you're right. Yeah. I mean, it's all part of the plan. It's not a glitch. It's the way it was set up. The system does what it's meant to do. And that is really atrocious. It's atrocious. All right. Let's get into it, because we do have some good, like, uplifting stuff. We wanted today to be like a little more like, fight the power.
Yeah, we're gonna keep it lighter, except for probably on the Israel stuff. But
yeah.
Anyway, shit show.
Let's do it. All right. That gave me a moment to read a couple comments. And Risk Reigns was just writing this. I'd love to hear more about this. Maybe you can send us some information, because that sounds really, really great. 501c3 NPOs offer healthcare with no insurance. Our organization uses them to help people who are experiencing homelessness and our own family. That's amazing. That's amazing. I would love to hear more about that. But it really is just despicable that we're all forced to do these things on our own, because that's what the government is for. But yeah, I would love to hear more about that anyway. All right, let's get into it. We're always complaining about StreamYard, and tonight will be no different. They've changed some of our buttons.
Is that driving you nuts too? It's driving me nuts. They changed
the
names of the buttons, and it's just a small thing.
Yeah, but it is a small thing, but like, we're trying, again, not to be like, oh, the world's smallest violin here, but like, because it's just the two of us sort of doing everything, my eyes are always crossing and trying to find different stuff. But so here we are. Okay, why don't we? Do you want to just go through like the worst part first, which is the Biden crap and like Democrats? Because the Luigi stuff is a lot more fun. Do you want to just like go down?
Yeah, sure. Let's start with dementia, right?
Shocker. A big scoop. The Wall Street Journal. How the White House functioned with a diminished Biden in charge. Aides kept meetings short and controlled access. Top advisors acted as go-between, and public interactions became more scripted. The administration denied. Biden has declined. I mean, this is some ass covering by corporate media, because I don't know about the Wall Street Journal, but most of us saw this in 2019. It was talked about in 2019.
For the last 2 years of this election in particular, that he was sharp as a tack.
Yeah.
And none of this was happening.
I speak with him every day. Yeah.
The Bring the Ruckus folks were like, no, he's really sharp. It's insulting. You're going to insult him. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, they knew he was losing 400 electoral college votes to Trump if they ran him. And they were just like, let's just keep lying about his dementia. Fuck it.
I know we all know this, but I just want to underline that again. They knew from their own polling that he was going to lose by 400 electoral votes. I mean, and they still saying that Trump's a fascist, Project 2025, democracy's on the line, the most important election, but we're running, as somebody said, we at Cora, Weekend at Bernie's, we're running, being there. Remember that movie with Peter Sellers?
No, you're old.
I am really old. Although that was old even when I was young and I watched it with my dad. But, we all knew that. We knew that in 2019. Cory Booker and one of the Castro brothers, whichever one was running, mentioned it. And Andrea Mitchell mentioned it. They all talked about it in 2019. And then they all pretended that it was fine. And now they're going to act like they're uncovering something.
When there was a legit primary and they didn't think Biden had a shot in hell.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
The media was very honest. They were talking about all of those groping claims. his mental acuity, all of it was fair game, because they're like, this guy's not going to win. Obviously, another Democrat's going to swoop in there and take it from him. But then the Bernie craze hit, and they're like, oh shit. And then they all caved, and we know what happened. But they're just rewriting history with all this stuff. And it's all coming out publicly now that they all knew it.
They all knew it.
They do. We knew they do.
Of course they did. It's ridiculous. Of course they did. I mean, it's so embarrassing. It's why the, approval rating for legacy media is lower even than the approval rating for Congress. I mean, that is how, beneath the basement they are. Thank goodness. I mean, I'm really.
Yeah. If you haven't seen any of Don Lemon's coverage for his own channel,
no,
he's now a on the street guy talking to people all the time.
Oh, I did see. I saw. I mean,
he's
I
always
saw
on the street like
that.
You really, and he's we've shown a clip or two, I think.
Yeah,
but
he's always
just so out of touch. It's hilarious.
He's never met a real person before.
Exactly. He thinks he like you called it. He has not met a real person. He has lived in the bubblest of bubbles.
Yeah.
And he sincerely believes the shit he says on the street to these people. And they're owning him left and right. And he's just airing the clip, like, thinking he got the win on these people.
Yeah. Showing how silly that. Well, I mean, he was the one who said that Nikki Haley was a little past her prime because women past their 50s. That I think that might have been the final straw for his co-hosts. Yeah, it really, I mean, I know there was the Movie Network, which was great, but I'm not that old. My favorite my favorite news movie was Broadcast News. And, I was thinking about that when we were showing all the Clarissa Ward stuff last week or on Wednesday, all the fake, I mean, whether she was in on it from the beginning, which it's hard to believe she was not in on this setup of this staged, rescue of a prisoner who somehow hadn't been released from a prison that had been emptied out 3 days earlier. And then it turns out he's actually had been an Assad affiliate and was one of his head torture spy guys or surveillance people, intelligence people. But do you remember in Broadcast News where, if anybody hasn't seen it, I'm about to spoil something for you, but it's such a small moment, right? It's William Hurt is the new, like, Tom Brokaw, dumb as a rock, but very handsome, talking head anchorman. And he actually, he's doing this sort of not great piece about this woman, a single mom or something. I can't remember what the issue was. And he cries, for real, he cries, but they didn't get it in that take as well. So they go back and do it again so that he can fake cry because he had cried, but they didn't get it on camera. So and that was enough for her, because she has principles, Holly Hunter, Spitfire, to be completely disgusted and done with him, which I love. But can you imagine if we held that level for our journalists now? I mean,
can I just say, even on the left, you may know this person, I'm not going to drop a name, but I was on her show and went for like 45 minutes, and she's like, oh shit, I forgot to record this. None of this happened.
Oh my God.
And she went through the whole reboot of the show with the same emotional line by line. It was the phoniest shit I've ever seen in my life. And it was the worst show I've ever been on, because from my perspective, I'm not an actor.
You're not like recreating things. Like back to one, people.
Yeah. And she did that whole thing like that. I was just like, what the fuck is this? Like, just disgusting.
And she's a journalist. She presents herself as a journalist.
Yeah.
Oof.
She centered herself on a lot of Bernie stuff. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. That really stinks. And it does, because there's a way around. So it was pre-taped, obviously, right? Or did she just delay the live airing?
No, it was taped, but I mean,
there's a way to do that and start it all off again, where you're like, we just had the craziest fuck up, and and you explain it, like, I'm going to try to ask the same questions, but you can present it and still be true about the setup, right?
Yeah. And look, maybe I'm being too harsh, but I just mean the emotional side of it. Like the whole, it felt like it felt performative, and I'm not here to do performative.
Exactly.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it was boring as fuck from my perspective, getting asked the exact same thing over and over again. But whatever.
She's like, my mind only works this far, and so we're just gonna have to redo all this stuff.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Well, that maybe an Ask Me Anything someday when we actually do that. You'll divulge. All right.
I have a saucy story about her too. Ooh.
You have what?
I have a very saucy story.
Oh. All right. That might be extra.
That's we need to after our Patreon.
When we've definitely had been overserved. I have one strand of hair that's going to drive me crazy for the rest of the show. Okay, so not only does this sundowning, just feeble old man not belong anywhere near power, but he's also going to make sure he does the most damage on his way out. So internationally, we know bombing Yemen, Syria,
like check to Ukraine,
Lebanon. Yep. Now we are like bombing Russia. Like he is just full out trying to, and they'll even talk about the tactic is to make things as bad as possible when Trump comes in. It's like, remember when I think it was it George Bush Sr. who there went Pat, who didn't leave any of the nice notes or anything. You're visually left us again. Weird. God, work on that, StreamYard. Don't rename tabs for us. How about you work on our ability to stream? But he did some shitty frat boy kind of welcoming committee for whoever the new person was. Like took all the curtains. I don't know, something ridiculous. Which is already like buffoonery when you're the most important person in the world at the time. This is so beyond evil. I don't even know what we're supposed to do with it. But then he's not happy, and I'll let you take the floor now, but he's now going to turn all of his attention domestically also.
What are we talking about?
Sorry, Biden. Not
no, right, I know, but so
he's doing the most evil he can do.
He's dropping every pretense at the end that he wanted to do any of these things. He's ditching, like, our argument the whole time was he didn't fight for this stuff. He's just abandoning it all at the end. Like this, he could fulfill this and see what happens.
Yeah.
Right. So his debt cancellation plan gone. We know he deported the most people ever.
Oh, wait, not ever. Wait, since when? Since whom? Since fucking Obama. Not Trump. Since Obama, 2014. Record deportations. Jesus. Go ahead,
next he throws trans people under the bus.
Shocking. Never would have imagined.
And I did catch footage of him here. I won't show it all, but instead of talking about what's going on in Palestine, Russia, Ukraine, the
economy,
the shooting, the
COVID, a new pandemic on the horizon.
And the criticism has been, where is he? Why is he not speaking about these things? And they handed that off to Kamala largely for the last 6 months.
Right.
But now you can't have her come out and talk about this stuff. So there's just nobody talking about it except for the Republicans. But here he is. He did have a time for this.
Like a peddler just opening his sack. His eyes, how they twinkle. His nipples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of his chin was as white as the snow.
I can't watch any more of that. But
that's his perfect speed. That's exactly where he should be, except he shouldn't be anywhere near children. But that's exactly the right spot for him. It meets the moment for him perfectly, and just disgraceful. It's disgraceful.
And for the Democrats to lose like they just lost, with the public knowing that they were going to run Biden, knowing he was going to lose 400 seats, 400 electoral votes. And now they're trying to spin us some bullshit about, hey, we're going to run Kamala again. Like that's out there like crazy right now.
Democrats don't blame Harris. In fact, many want her back in 2028. And they don't tell you who the many are. It's not the voters. It's the people who make money off of, I mean, she brought in $1.2 billion. And that went almost entirely back to the people who were running her campaign, who were doing the PACs, who were doing the advertisements. Of course they want her back.
And if you think of capitalism, the people in power, which are more or less, there's two parties, the Democrats and Republicans, and there's the oligarchy class, but they benefit from either party winning, so they don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
But if you're on the half on the Democratic side, and she made just phenomenal amounts of money for you and all your people in the industry, that was a win. Yeah. This is a fucking win. And they're going to keep raising more money. And the public is so fucking detached and there's so much learned helplessness. They think that we're just going to fucking take it forever. And they'll just keep losing and losing and losing. But whatever, you know, we'll flip sides once in a while and nobody will get shit done. But it's not working. I got this email from the Democratic Party writing me to sign a card for Kamala, thanking her for all her hard work
every day, right? It's her, or it's her birthday, or it's Biden's birthday, or thank her for running such a good campaign and all of that. It's that vertical integration of the firm she hires to help her. And then they also have a production facility. So then they hire the production facility to do, you know, like it's all a big Ponzi scheme, grifting organization. And right, because she raised a lot of money. She knew a lot of wealthy people. And they spent, like this year, we mean it. We know we have said that, you know, many times it's the most important election of our lifetime, but this time it really is. Trump's an existential threat. Imagine if you actually believed they thought that, and then this is the response. Nothing. Like nobody's doing anything except setting up more mechanisms to help fascism completely obliterate all of us.
Exactly. How many people within the Democratic Party knew the situation was dire and Biden had no shot at winning? Most of them.
Yeah.
Most of them. Right.
Yeah.
And so for them to just let this pass, like if you care, if everything if any of what you said is true, if democracy is really at stake, if any of that is true, you blow the whistle on that and you say, we got to get out here and get the truth out.
You blow the whistle on it. And then when you fuck up so bad and lose in a humiliating way to this buffoon who you've been ringing the alarm bells on for years, you do everything right now to try to help the country, help, you know, pass legislation, talk about things that you are hoping will happen in the next administration because it's so important. You use your bully pulpit, you do executive actions, you go crazy trying to save the country. You don't, you know, disappear and come out for a little reading and have nobody else who can do anything to try to set us on any path. It was all a lie.
And you're framing,
hope that normie Dems have woken up to this.
Your framing since losing shouldn't be, let's make Kamala feel better with the card.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you know, you just lost democracy, apparently, right? That was your whole, that's what you told us for the last 4 years, really. But like,
yeah.
So it should be dire about, hey, we need to stop this piece of legislation, donate to this cause, and this is what's going to happen. Not spins about, let's make her feel good because she's good. She worked so hard for us.
Yeah, exactly. Thank her. Like she's doing us a favor. I'd love to see, I don't know exactly how much her portfolio has grown since she entered the Senate before running, but she certainly, her wealth has definitely increased, as has every other member of Congress. I have seen, and I wonder how this tactic is going to work. It feels so juvenile, but you know, Bernie does it. I saw, I mean, lots of like just regular Democrats calling Musk President Musk, like to bait Trump into not doing what Musk wants, like the government shutdown or war. if it does feel like a lot of people, I saw Jeffrey Sachs, and he didn't say President Musk. He didn't go to that realm, but like pleading, it's like people are actually who care. And I think Jeffrey Sachs does. I mean, I only know what he talks about or writes about in the news. I can't see into anybody's heart or soul, but I really respect what he talks about when he talks about war. And like pleading through Tucker Carlson. He was on an interview with Tucker Carlson, pleading with Trump about how to stop World War III. Like he seems truly panicked, which I think he has a right to be, and which should also cause us all a lot of concern. But like talking through Tucker Carlson to try to get, because he knows that Tucker, to try to get to Trump, because everybody is panicked right now.
Yeah, and
except for the people who fucked it all up for us.
Well, the seriousness of what's going on. Look, I get the strategy, like AOC with her daddy Musk stuff.
I hate that part. I hate all that.
I hate that with such a passion, but it's not about stopping Musk. It's about shaping. I mean, we should stop him, of course, obviously, right. but we need to shape policy and have an opposition. And the more AOC puts out these little daddy Musk things with her rolling around the bed, it feels like a little spat between rappers or something.
Yeah,
like
I hate it.
It's not. It doesn't meet the moment at all.
It's pathetic.
It's pathetic. Call out. Every single Democrat should have the same message Bernie had now.
Yeah.
About look, we're taking over. Musk has no business in this at all.
Yeah.
It should be hard.
Oligarch. Yeah.
No, we will not support him. We don't want billionaires taking over. We're too owned right now.
Yep.
This can't go on.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be, oh, who's your daddy? Who's your daddy?
Yeah,
Trump?
like it's a little tiff. I mean, that's why it does, it's kayfabe. It just feels like the stakes aren't high for them. They really don't care. They just want to win points. It's like, it's a funny game. It's a sport, But yeah, I don't need to see a sitting member of Congress lying on her bed and looking up at her like a Kim Kardashian. Fucking get in work clothes, sit behind a desk or behind a podium if you want to speak to everybody and talk like somebody who's taking this seriously. It's insanity. I mean, it really is insanity. Like it really does feel like Versailles or something, or, the Hunger Games. I mean, we are at that level where it's all pretend from the people who are in power. It's just a joke. Okay. I almost
Speaking of jokes, I mean, we can get back
on. Oh my God.
They threw their little holiday party for all the people who lied online for the Bidens. Yeah, Biden's going to win. He's going to win.
And like all the worst people, there's Eunice, somebody, somebody, I don't know any of these people's last names.
All I know is Harry Sisson.
Harry Sisson there. And then I think that's the dad from Brooklyn dad or whatever was on the bottom right. The Joe.
I was going to say, no, that's Hunter Biden.
But what I loved, and that's Eunice, somebody on the top left. Anyway, they're all awful, but I loved the actual poster who, the post was, oh my God, the White House threw a holiday going away party with the resistance grifters and Hunter Biden. Look at my Democratic Party, dog. We're getting a third Trump term. I mean, truly, like, it's all a joke. It's just a joke. It's just a joke.
Yeah,
and
it's not. Look, you don't want this public. If you're going to get together with all the people who did paid PR for you online, you kind of do that behind closed doors. You don't make it public. And if you make it public, you don't make it public with centering the pardoning of your criminal fucking son before pardoning people with marijuana violations and all the things you said you would do when you came to power. It's just giving us all the bird every fucking day from the Democratic Party.
I mean, look at the people he pardoned and the people he chose not to. Not Edward Snowden, not Julian Assange, not Peltier, not Leonard Peltier. Sorry, my brain, there it went. Like people who he could have, Stephen Donziger. He could have pardoned Marcellus Williams before he was put to death It's just,
and he should lock in Lena Khan like that. Of all the things, dude, on your way out, he should have made sure she had that position for 6 more years or whatever it was. That.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like
Lena
that
Khan
would have been like your one legacy, which isn't even really his, but like the one good thing, the one literal one good thing about your entire presidency.
And he could have set the NLRB up to actually last in a strong position through Trump's whole regime. Didn't do that either. The most pro-union president of my lifetime.
Who lost union support. Isn't that weird that the most pro-union guy lost union support? Who
crushed 3 strikes. How can that ever be considered somebody who's pro-union? I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's pathetic. Just so nobody accuses us of being biased against only Democrats. This is, look, here's the GOP, the missing Congress lady, Kay Granger, hasn't been seen in 6 months? Was that the last time they saw her? Since July? Turns out that she is residing in an assisted living facility, has dementia, and transferred the deed for her home back in July, which is the same month she cast her last vote, but she's still a sitting member of Congress. So,
yeah. How do you excuse that? Like, if you're the Republican Party and you don't know, well, how are you running that place?
Yeah.
She's gone for 6 months.
6 months, sitting member of Congress.
Dementia home.
Crazy. Which prompted Ken Klippenstein to repost the article about the pharmacist who said that he is filling prescriptions for Alzheimer drugs for many members of Congress.
Yeah. Did you also see her? Somebody went through her tweets too, and the tweets were like, hey, our interns are such fabulous people, because the interns are writing it. You know what I mean? It was like they were all
give her a raise.
They are always doing that anyway, but like she's not checking this stuff. She's in a fucking dementia home.
That's amazing.
So I would be employee of the month.
Yeah, absolutely.
If my boss was gone.
Give Lila a raise for sure.
Lila's killing it.
Lila is killing it. All right. The Trump Doge Act, House Republicans, from friend of show, Stephen Semler, House Republicans, readers. It just introduced the Doge Act. The bill cuts non-military spending by $114 billion, shrinks programs for energy, climate, health, transportation, veterans, education, economy, and more. And it reduces the Pentagon spending by 0. That's Trump and Vivek for you. I mean, Elon and Vivek, the Doge Act.
Yeah. And look, I think most people on the left realize Trump's not, Elon is not sincere. He's not doing this for cuts. He's doing it for personal benefit. And if you think he's some sort of populist who's going to get in there and really cut the spending to save the government some money, he doesn't give a shit about even those billions. None of that even matters to him. Ultimately, he just wants handouts and government contracts for his fucking space shit and his next program that he's not going to invent, but he's going to take credit for.
Absolutely. Yep.
That's it.
His Starlink, and now there's rumors that Palantir and another, surveillance company are teaming up with AI companies to try to get contracts with the government and Starlink. Like, it's just one big, disgusting surveillance police state.
Yeah. And ultimately, you're going to have like Elon with his power. Something's going to happen where, like, okay, let's run it through the Doge software and see who should get the contract.
Yeah.
Let's have the AI decide what's the best contract, who's the most efficient use of our government money, or,
Yep.
Nothing good is going to happen. And Trump is such a, if you fluff him enough, he's going to give you what you want.
Yeah.
I mean, he's always transactional, and that's what's happening here. Because look, if Elon Musk cared about this stuff, Elon Musk could write a check for the billions. He could just do it tomorrow. He could write a check for that amount of money. That money it's piss to him.
Yeah, it's we're really in a sad state. I mean, we've been run by an oligarchy for a while now, and that's horrible. There's something especially egregious that it's so in our faces that nobody cared. Nobody elected Elon Musk, right? So the fact that he can say anything.
That's where I think it's kind of good that we have Musk here. Like, in a way, it's like
it is so obscene.
We're facing it's so in our face with every fucking issue that this government does not give a fuck about us.
Yeah.
You know, they're trying to paint, you know, this. I mean, we're gonna get to Luigi a little bit, but I just want to add it to this since we're in that area. They're trying to paint that as sort of like a left versus right thing. Support for Luigi is left.
Yeah.
And the ruling class is really trying on the Republican side to make that a thing.
Yeah.
And the Republican MAGA folks are like, no, fuck it. We support him every fucking bit as much as the left does.
Yeah.
So.
And the liberals who are in any place of power are not with the left or
they're not exactly
on the ground right. Like, it's just a really fascinating revelation. It's not a revelation to many of us, but I think for the people in power, which is why, and you know, this is so my grand plan in my head, which I think a lot of us shared.
You're going to take out CEOs?
Yeah, that's my plan.
Don't say it.
I need my readers first. And a mask and readers and like, somebody to rub my shoulders because I got a crook in my neck. I'm so not built for like the true revolution. And I have so much admiration for people who really put their money where their mouths are. But I thought that we would have a bit of a replay of Trump's first regime, which was the, liberal corporate media always calling him out and being really adversarial, which I wish they would do with everybody in power. That's the job of the fourth estate. But now, not only the corporate media, but also people in Congress, not that Fetterman, I had no hope for him anyway, but there is now a rehabilitation of Trump as not so bad, not really a fascist, somebody we have to work with. He actually has a good idea on this. And by the way, if he has a good idea, good, go with it. But and don't call him out on stupid things that you wouldn't call out your own party on. I'm not saying that, but I had hoped that there would be a return to what journalists are supposed to do, which is, really search for the truth, be adversarial, be contentious with people in power.
Right.
And it just feels like they are all sort of flocking together. There's a lot of class solidarity, especially now seeing the rest of us with our class solidarity.
Yeah. And I think that's where it's interesting because our class solidarity isn't going anywhere. It's natural. It's not fabricated, it's not, you didn't create it. It isn't like something, it was born out of our situation. So it's not changing, and the more they expose themselves, the more our side grows and the more they are shown as liars, basically. So that shift, I think they're going to get back to covering Trump as he was at some point. I think that's kind of inevitable, but the test is going to be, look, they failed the COVID test. They failed so many tests, but bird flu is a real thing they need to be out there warning us about right now. And they're not. And that's kind of like they're unified in not reporting on things that hurt us.
They serve capital. That's just it. They just all serve capital. Yeah. All right. What else do we have? I think that's kind of it for.
That's kind of, I did want to show one clip from CNN.
Yeah.
Just because I appreciate her. Lately, she's been, I don't know how they keep having her
great.
on.
I know, it's amazing.
I don't know how. She's get to know her before she's gone.
This is her last appearance ever.
She's been speaking some truth on CNN, and I just appreciated this 1 minute clip here.
These Democrats are starting to mistrust their institutions. And this goes back to a bipartisan effort to lie us into the Iraq War, not just by George Bush, but also by a lot of Democrats. It has to do with the fact that Barack Obama did not hold anybody accountable after the 2008 crisis, which also happened on George Bush's watch, but he became president. He never threw a hostage on the tarmac from Wall Street. You saw the rise of Bernie Sanders as a result of that, and you saw a lot of institutional Democrats, me included, saying, no, 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 this is not the time. We have to stick with the institution. And I think you have a lot of Democrats now, me included, who are pretty sick of the institution and trusting people in the institution. And this is just one example, most recent example, I think, of people institutionally lying to the American people. And what you're ultimately going to see, and I don't have a problem saying this as a Democrat, is that you're going to see a Tea Party version rise up in the Democratic Party based on the fact that this is yet another marker of people just not trusting our leaders anymore. And I'm sorry to say that, but I think we brought this on ourselves.
Yeah, I love Strike. Yeah, she's great. Julie Rodzinski, and she was on the clip that we showed last
She's
week.
thinking about fucking my face up right
now.
now.
Oh, really?
You have no idea.
Oh my
God.
Anyway,
yeah, no, she's been great. And look, the Tea Party line, yeah, you're going to see a Tea Party, but I don't know, like
that was supposed to be the squad.
Exactly. So without them having done it, I don't think we're going to trust a movement within the party to do it.
No,
like there might be another resurgence of like Squad Part 2 coming in bigger and badder. You know, we added 4 more members or something, but like
Summerly, maybe
the public sees AOC and a lot of these people, at least on the left, the online left. No, it's not enough.
They did. I mean, she's been in Congress now for 6 years. What has she done? And shout out to, we should say this every time, Case Study QB, thank you. He pulls so many clips that we use and they're so informative and helpful. So thank you to Case Study QB. All right, here we go. Spinning.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby. Just in time.
There you go.
I am closing and spinning and then I will refill. Refill, 1 second.
Yeah, baby.
Okay, I'm making it a really big pour past my line.
Well done.
Okay.
Yeah, baby.
Look at that.
All right. We're always doing cats, so I think we should go dogs.
Riley. Riley. Riley, come here. Penny. Penny. Penny, come here. Come here, Penny. Penny, come here. Come here, Penny.
Nina. Nina. Where are you, Bee? Nina. Nina, where are you?
Ben. Ben. Ben, come here.
Ruby. Ruby. Ruby.
Mackie. Mackie, where are you? Mackie, come here. Where are you? Mackie.
Nina. Nina. Nina, come here. Nina. Nina.
Monto, come here. Monto, where are you? Monto, come here. Monto.
I am ashamed to say that I tried this with Lucky yesterday because I think it's funny, but it also like a little bit breaks my heart for them because I always feel like they can't communicate exactly what they want to say. And so then when you're saying something and they're like, wait, I thought we understood what this part was, I feel like it's really messing with their heads. So I did it for just like a few seconds, but she's so smart that she was like, no, she didn't go. She kind of looked at me.
No,
and
I get what
went back
you're
to
saying,
sleep.
though, like the same thing. Like I can have the best time ever with one of the little cat lasers.
Right.
But Pablo is like, my whole world is broken. He's like, what the fuck, man?
He doesn't like it.
He's like mad. He's mad at the world when I have a laser he can't catch.
That's really funny. Yeah, it's such a tease. It's like when the kids used to drive me crazy when they were really little, and I would tell them to go in the backyard and see how many quarters they could each find. But I had not put any quarters back there.
Oh, that's
they deserve that.
That's the babysitting. I need 5 minutes. Hide and seek.
Yes. Oh my God. Hide and seek is the best. I have the best hiding spots.
Yeah.
All right.
While we're on that real quick, cat, Strike is a smart fucking cat, right?
Okay.
Pablo's a dumb hunter, right? He's a big old outdoor, but he's amazing. He's a wild animal, not a cat, really, to be honest. But Strike used to come to her name, and I trained her, like, you know, I'd say, Strike, come here, Strike. And she would come. And then I started associating it with ham to even reinforce it more.
Okay.
Right. You know, because that was her favorite food. Like, come. But now, she actually came. But now
she just heard you?
She did.
She's brilliant. Look at that.
But now she doesn't come when I say her name because she knows the sound of the ham opening.
So she comes for the ham, but not for.
So she's like, if she hears her name without the ham, she's like, it's not ham. It's just some bullshit.
Yeah. Although she did just do it now. That's interesting.
She did, but she knows it's making me look stupid.
Yeah. She's
she's
making a lie out of you. She's so smart. All right. We are moving on to COVID, which we're going to talk about it. I think next Sunday, because we're skipping this during the week, our Wednesday show, because it's Christmas and the first night of Hanukkah. But next Sunday we'll be back, and maybe we will talk about this new documentary that I just watched. I've never watched Tucker Carlson before in my life, although that's not true. When he was on, what was the thing with him and the one that Jon Stewart went on, Crossfire? Like, I used to watch that.
Oh, back in the day,
5 years ago or something. Yeah, that was his. Yeah. But I saw Dana Parrish. Is that her name? She has a lot of COVID posts and research online on Twitter, and she posted a couple clips, and it's a filmmaker named Jenner First, who just did a documentary called Thank You, Dr. Fauci. And there were some really interesting points. I need to dig into it a lot harder, but it's just amazing that we're acting like it's all behind us, because not only is it still so present that like hospitals are being overrun now, and even some of them say it's with flu, but it's at a level that it was not at 4 or 5 years ago, because all of our immune systems have shut down. They've all been compromised.
We've all been compromised, and the public has just been trained to think like, you don't even have to test. It's just COVID. If I get COVID, it's going to be sick. And then, you know, and we showed the numbers last show. It was like, what was it, 250? I don't know.
Deaths?
No, how much more prevalent
500.
COVID was than the flu right now. So like, if you're sick right now,
it's like
huge percentage chance it's actually COVID versus these other things. So even though you might have an experience that doesn't feel like it was the COVID you had the last time or whatever, you probably have COVID if you're sick now. So you should test. But people are doing this whole didn't feel like the last time I had COVID or something, you know, like it. And if you test, what's the point? You know, I mean,
that's the problem. What's the point? What are you going to do?
Should be that you test to protect others and you mask because of it and you do all these protections, but nobody's doing that anyway.
Right.
So like
if you're somebody who would do that, you do that whether it says COVID or not, right? Like, and those people aren't going to do it.
Yeah,
like,
but
I would do that. Yeah.
The last thing they want to do is ostracize themselves by saying I have COVID, and then you have to tell your coworkers you have COVID or something, you know. So it's like my boss, I didn't work the last 2 days, and he's like, "Oh, I've been really sick again," you know. And I'm like, "Yeah, you were sick on Wednesday. That was or Sunday. I don't know. You were sick." And he's like, "It's not COVID. It's something else." And he's like, "Because I can still smell."
Oh my God.
My food, you know, so it can't be COVID.
Right.
It's COVID. He fucking just went on a trip. It's COVID, you know.
Of course, right.
Like everybody, it's COVID, most likely.
It's COVID, or it's a remnant of COVID, or it's a consequence of COVID. And they have tried to convince people that masks don't work, which is so absurd. We actually ended a whole strain of flu in 2021 because people were masking and isolating. It's a really bleak situation that both sides of the aisle have worked together to destroy trust in public health entirely, which, rightfully, like, nobody should trust what anybody says who's an elected politician or who has any sort of financial incentive from saying anything except what the actual data and science shows. And it's really difficult to find that because there is a concerted effort to hide that from people to get everybody back to work. You don't get sick pay, you don't get sick leave, you don't get treatment for free. So like, why would anybody test? Nobody cares.
And that's the bigger problem institutionally and from our government, is that they deserve all our mistrust. So when they've betrayed our public trust and they've lied to us about so many things, it allows someone like Tucker, and I haven't seen that show, there's probably like half truths in all of it, and maybe even more than that, but like, for this whole side to exist thinking we don't trust the government, so therefore we can't trust this now, and there's no voice of the scientists out there saying, trust this is not the government, this is like science, this is that needs to exist, and that needs to exist on the left, because we're the only people that are going to possibly push that narrative right now, and the left failed miserably in this area.
Yep.
So I know this might be lengthy and people have seen it or know it, but like, can we just forget vaccine stuff? Because there's a lot of bullshit that you're not going to get past when you try to convince people vaccines work, but masks fucking work, right? Can
masks
we just get
work for every variant? They work for every
all
variant.
Diseases. Like it's just ridiculous. Like, anything airborne, a mask's going to work. So here's the science of the mask. I sped it up a little bit, so forgive the fast speaking, but here's some science on masks. You dumb fucks on the left. I'm talking to Jimmy Dore's audience. Hopefully some of them are listening. Hate watch us.
Prior to March 2020, there's a good chance you didn't know what an N95 mask was, or at least didn't think about them unless you were doing a home repair project with lots of dust, or live in a part of the world with crazy pollution or wildfire smoke. And upon learning about them, you might think, like I did, that an N95 mask is basically a really, really fine strainer, a mesh of fibers with gaps too small for dust and other airborne particles to get through. A strainer filters out particles larger than its openings, but not particles smaller than its openings. So you'd expect that with a mask, after a certain point, small enough particles will sneak through. But this isn't how N95 masks work. The particles they filter are generally much smaller than the gaps between the fibers in the mask. What's more, an N95 mask is actually really good at filtering both the largest and smallest small particles. It's medium-sized small particles that are hardest for it to block. This isn't at all like a strainer, because N95s are much cleverer than strainers. The overarching goal of an N95 mask is instead to get an airborne particle to touch a fiber in the mask. Regardless of how big an airborne particle is, once it touches a fiber, it stays stuck to it and doesn't become airborne again. This isn't anything special about the fibers, but about the size of the particles. At a microscopic scale, everything is sticky, because the weakly attractive force between molecules is more than strong enough to hold very, very small things in place. So you shouldn't think of N95 masks like a fine window screen that keeps insects of a certain size out. You should think of them more like a sticky spider web that can catch an insect of any size, as long as it touches a strand. And so N95 masks use a bunch of different clever physics and mechanical tricks to get particles to touch their fibers. First, many spider webs are better than one. Unlike strainers, where stacking many identical ones doesn't improve the filtering at all, more layers of sticky fibers means more chances for particles to get stuck. And how likely particles are to hit or miss a fiber depends in large part on their size. Airborne particles larger than 1/1000 of a millimeter basically travel in straight lines because of their inertia. And because there are so many layers of fibers, their straight line paths are essentially guaranteed to hit a fiber and stick. Airborne particles that are really, really small are so light that collisions with air molecules literally bounce them around, so they move in a random zigzag pattern known as Brownian motion. This zigzagging also makes it super likely that a particle will bump into a fiber and get stuck. Particles of in-between sizes are the hardest to filter. That's because they don't travel in straight lines, and they also don't bounce around randomly. Instead, they're carried along with the air as it flows around fibers, meaning they're likely to get carried past fibers and sneak through even a mask with many layers. But N95 masks have a final trick up their sleeve. They can attract particles of all sizes to them using an electric field. In the presence of an electric field, even neutral particles develop an internal electrical imbalance which attracts them to the source of the field. This is why neutrally charged styrofoam sticks to a cat whose fur has been charged with static electricity. But unlike a cat's fur, an N95 mask's electric field isn't just ordinary static electricity. The fibers are like permanent magnets, but for electricity, electrets. Just like you can permanently magnetize a piece of iron by putting it in a strong enough magnetic field, you can electritize a piece of plastic to give it a permanent electric field. By electritizing the fibers in an N95 mask, they gain a long-lasting ability to attract particles, which means they capture about 10 times as many particles as regular fibers. And this is, after all, the point of an N95 mask, to filter out particles from the air, and they do it cleverly. By taking advantage of the molecular scale stickiness of matter, using many layers of fibers that catch straight-moving large particles as well as zigzagging small particles, and having an electric field that attracts all particles, you get a mask, not a strainer, that's really good at trapping both large and small airborne particles, and does a reasonably good job at filtering out middle-sized airborne particles. Precisely what fraction of those sneaky medium-sized particles get blocked gives you the number of the mask. If at least 95% of those particles are filtered out, then the mask is rated N95.
Yeah, it's just physics. Like, doesn't matter what any Yahoo says, it's physics. It works. I'm seeing, this is anecdotal, but yeah, Audrey says she's been wearing a mask for 4 years in public places and it works. Still never had COVID. Tested twice in the last 9 months, both negative.
Audrey, that's literally me. And I go to work every day and riding around in a truck with a guy who has fucking long COVID for sure and gets COVID every fucking 6 to 9 months.
Like crazy. Risk, it filters almost anything out of air or water. Another fact I dropped at Sam's Seder that got me banned on a second account. Oh, sorry about that. Crazy. I don't know why he would be offended by that. That's insanity. And Willie Bragg says he didn't get a cold for 2 years. Yeah, I have had COVID once, and I know there was somebody who watched it when we had, I think Leslie on, or I don't know who it was, but anyway, we had Leslie Lee on, I think, and said I've had COVID once, and there was somebody who kept like sort of responding like she thought it was crazy that I think I only had COVID once, but like I am really lucky. I mostly am just home, and I always wear a mask in public, indoors. I don't wear it when I'm outdoors unless it's like really crowded, but they work. It's just physics. Like there's no,
Yeah, and the studies show that, it's almost 100% effective when worn correctly. So there was more to that video that I cut out just for time's sake, but like, if you have a beard, like right now,
yeah,
a teeny bit of beard, that's not the best thing for COVID,
seal,
for masks, because the seal is a lot of everything. The other thing is, because of the magnetic field that exists in a mask, like washing them, rubbing them with alcohol, things like that, you don't really want to do. You just want to throw them away at a certain point.
Yeah.
And there's ways to clean them, but like, look them up if you want them. I'm not going to give it to you.
Yeah. I have seen quite a few scientists who have said that if like your mask will probably be effective longer than it actually lasts physically. Like your things will come off, excuse me, if you're wearing it properly. So like you could even alternate. Like if you wear it for one day, like I have lots of different colored masks, or if they're black, I have like a silver Sharpie and I'll put the date or whatever. But like you can alternate, just give it 5 days and then you can wear it again, like all that kind of stuff, because they are more expensive. But anyway, all things still point to, if you are going to get exposed to COVID, you want to get exposed to as little as possible, because, like your immune system just works that way. You can get exposed to a teeny bit of something really terrible for you, as long as it's not like ricin or something, like on a granular level. Yeah.
And your body will handle it better in different ways and involve less of your immune system getting involved. Like it's better to get less exposure. So even if you have a leaky mask, it's better than just letting someone cough in your face, because you're going to get a high dosage. You're going to have a massive reaction from your body to it. It's
so funny. That was one of the things, all the things that we talked about at the very beginning of COVID, where it was like, isolation, and now, your bubbles and how exponentially, it grows, like the more people you bring in, like all these. But the other one was like the, the load, like the viral load. And as you're saying, like load.
Sorry.
That's
the fun show.
It's helpful. Yeah. The shit show. All right. But anyway, so moving on, because we still have like so much fun stuff to get to, but we did want to say is that, so the WHO says we're still in a pandemic, and incoming Trump says, we're going to pull out of the WHO on day one. which I really have conflicting feelings about. Now the World Health Organization is being, pretty good about it. And they have been, sort of for a couple of years, but they lied to us at the beginning, knowing it was airborne and hiding that. But for the past couple of years, they have continued to be insistent that we are still in a pandemic. Go ahead.
Well, I guess we're getting to it, but no matter what you think about COVID, like bird flu is here and coming, and it may not end up like COVID, but the potential for what it causes.
Oh,
we're talking about just starting to mow down the whole population, just everybody dead.
Up to 50%. They're talking about a 50% fatality rate. But yes, okay, just to go back to the WHO thing for a second, it is, knowing that Bill Gates is the biggest individual contributor to the World Health Organization and that he gets to exercise his influence on them. I do think it's that strange thing where it's like, I don't trust our government bodies. I certainly don't trust billionaires or the oligarchy. But it shouldn't be conflated with not trusting science, right? And I think that that's where a lot of people say, look what happened during COVID. It was the largest transfer of wealth from the poor to the rich, which is 100% true. It helped with a surveillance state and exercising control over populations and all that kind of stuff. It was the lockdowns, as small as they were used by people in power to hoard even more money and steal even more. But that doesn't mean there shouldn't have been lockdowns. Those are two separate things. Yes, there should be lockdowns when we didn't know what it is, although I think probably a lot of people did know what it was and could have been much more open and helpful about it. But just because it was used nefariously by the worst people in the world doesn't mean that we shouldn't have all been doing exactly what we did while trying to figure out what was happening.
Absolutely. And if your analysis recognizes that capitalism is bad, you should be able to look at the structure in place and how we handled COVID and realize, disaster capitalism. They all try to get rich off this. They all lie. They all want us to get to work. But when did that turn into, you should just not listen to the scientists and trust all these crazy conspiracy theorists? Because that's what the COVID minimizers are, conspiracy people. They are not like the whistleblower in the scientific community. Yeah. Like the scientific community at large doesn't have an interest in pushing a government narrative. So look to what they are saying. Yeah. And the experts on COVID have been screaming all this from day one.
100%.
The virus helps. The vaccine helps. It's not a solution. We need to do something about long COVID.
Yep.
Those are the three things.
Yeah.
Test.
But it continues.
Stay away from people if you're sick.
Yeah. Stay away from people if you're sick. Yeah. Unless you're because we know that 60% of transmissions happen from people who are asymptomatic or pre-symptomatic. Unless you're testing every single day, and unless we had tests that were actually keeping up with the new variants, which I don't think we are, and they're all expired, but certainly if you are sick at all, I assume everybody has COVID. I just assume whenever I'm out in public, everybody has COVID. So I'm always masked. But one little piece of good news is that Tufts, they're starting masking at Tufts Medicine. It is mandated masking for all staff, doctors, everybody, housekeeping, food service, everybody who works at the hospital. So that's good. But, it's always funny to me, it was announced on December 21st and it doesn't start till the 23rd. So keep, raw dog that air for 2 more days, but okay.
But along those lines, this is the problem, is that we've allowed government and politics to dictate basic shit. So Louisiana is forbidding their staff in the Department of Health from promoting COVID, flu, or monkeypox vaccines. So we're, and this is where RFK Jr. coming in for anything good he might do about food and nutrition. Yep. All that's canceled out if he's just like, hey, raw dog the virus.
Yeah. No, it's horrible. I do think, and I mean, I know you agree, but like that we need a lot more oversight and
we need transparency. And that's what he pushes.
Big pharma.
And he pushes that, but are we going to get transparency, or we're going to get, a panel of like 9 quacks that they're chiropractors up against some guy who's a fucking virologist, and they're going to all have a talk, and the whole public listens to the 9 fucking chiropractors because the virologist was outnumbered. They're like, oh, 9 people said he's wrong.
Right. And they'll come up with one study that nobody's heard of and you can't refute because you're just like, I
haven't heard of the study. And then you go read the study and you're like, oh, the author of the study says that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Don't take the read that this guy just took of it.
Right.
And
like the whole thing with the masks and the Cochrane study. Yeah. But so now we've got the bird flu pandemic, which is horrifying the rest of the world and also scientists in our, in our own country. Deep trouble. Even if it stays primarily in animals, we are way behind the 8 ball. Beef, pork, poultry, and eggs comprise 52% of calories in the American diet. If you don't think starvation could happen here, think again. And they talk about how, there was agency capture nearly a year into the first outbreak of the bird flu among cattle. The virus shows no sign of slowing. The U.S. government failed to eliminate the virus on dairy farms when it was confined to a handful of states by quickly identifying infected cows and taking measures to keep their infections from spreading. Now, at least 875 herds across 16 states have tested positive. Experts say they have lost faith in the government's ability to contain the outbreak. The U.S. Department of Agriculture this month announced a federal order to test milk nationwide. Researchers welcomed the news, but said it should have happened months ago before the virus was so entrenched. It's disheartening to see so many of the same failures that emerged during the COVID-19 crisis reemerge. Meanwhile, of course, when those were happening under Trump, people were very vocal about it in the media. And now it's really only, a handful of true scientists who are speaking out. Kevin Griffiths, director of communications at the CDC, said the agency worked with the National Center for Farm Worker Health throughout the summer to reach every farm worker impacted by H5N1. But Bethany Bogus Alcoter, pardon my pronunciation, the center's director of public health programs, said it didn't receive a CDC grant for bird flu outreach until October to the tune of $4 million. Before then, she said, the group had very limited funds for the task. We are certainly not reaching every farm worker, she added. Farm worker advocates also pressed the CDC for money to offset workers' financial concerns about testing, including paying for medical care, sick leave, and the risk of being fired. This amounted to an offer of $75 each. Outreach is clearly not a huge priority. I hear over and over from workers, the cows are more valuable than us. And we've been covering this now for 7 months, knowing that the CDC was trying to talk to farmers in the states where they were finding infected cows, and the lobbyists and like the big ag of each state were preventing them from talking to farmers to try to protect the farmers and the investment the farmers had in their cows. This, again, could have been handled very quickly from the offset if they had started testing right away, if they had isolated the infected cows instead of bringing them, and one cow can be taken to many different states for many different parts of how that animal is used for food by the farmers, right? So it just...
Yeah, we were better at this at one point, like the mad cow disease scare, we contained that, right? But now we're post-COVID. We've all gone through a thing that we're not through it, but it's killed millions of people. It's 6% of the population in the US has long COVID. 6% of adults have long COVID right now. And instead of learning the lesson, we learned the opposite lesson. They learned that they can quiet this down, suppress it, and we're not going to be outraged about it. And people are so trained to be, the science is questionable. Oh, this is another Democratic ploy or whatever.
Yeah, they're gonna
that
just
we're
make
in
Trump
such
look
bad
bad
shape with this right now.
Yeah,
it's insane.
And just like most pregnant women and unborn babies who contract bird flu will die. Most pregnant women who contract bird flu will die, according to an Australian review of infections that found most unborn babies with the virus also die. So, I mean, awesome. Because in the end, the only thing that matters, as always, is money, money, money. This was the super spreader event of the summer. $2 billion of Taylor Swift, who in every country, every city she went to, there would be, pages and pages of people in Facebook groups, the Swifties group in Ontario or the group in LA or what, like, do you find yourself feeling a little sick or peaked after it was worth it?
Got the Swiftie,
the Taylor
COVID,
COVID, Taylor's COVID perk. It's the extra perk. But those sales, man, that like cities loved it. Their tourism went up, the hotels, the restaurants, the shops, it was a whole COVID industry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is all they care about. And that's why we're doomed. So that was our fun segment.
All right. We're headed to
we're getting the more fun stuff.
This is going to be the fun.
Are we?
Let's go to Luigi. I think we got. Oh, thank goodness! I was wondering because I got an empty glass. Okay, but I am 1 second.
I didn't like the first two of this beer, but it's getting better.
You know what? Truth is, by the third glass or the third,
a lot's forgiven.
You don't have your taste buds are numb. It doesn't matter. You just keep swilling it back. It's good.
Yeah, baby.
All right. Okay. I got you.
Even better now.
Even better. Okay. Bigger. If less is more, just think about how much more is.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, come on. I think we just do a puppet to move on, right?
No, spend one more time. Let's see if we can get 5.
Okay. Let's
break some records.
Okay.
Although
baby.
5 is the record.
Oh my God. All right, I'm going to remove it now because this is ridiculous. I can't even have it anymore. I was about to lick the top of my bottle. Okay, I'm just removing this one. 1 second.
Do it.
Okay.
Yeah, baby.
There we go.
All right, that's fair. Let's see the cat version of the thing we just watched.
All right.
Ray.
Bean? Where's Bean? I'm so scared. Bean, where are you? Yeah. Alfie, where are you? Alfie. Evie.
Luna. Luna.
Callie. Mama. Callie. Oh. Abby. B.
That is, it is cute. I do feel sort of bad for them. And Stephen, that was very clever. COVID spreading swiftly. I like it.
Strike. 3 cries. We'll see.
This was my attempt. It's like I'll just show really quickly. Did not work.
You
Lucky. Really bad acting. I felt guilty.
Lucky, where are you, girl? Lucky.
You're too smart.
She was playing for the camera. She kept looking at the camera like, how am I looking? Do I look all right?
felt so guilty the whole thing, and that was me after a bottle of wine late at night last night. I was about to go to bed. Not my best lighting, but I just had to try it and see. She's very smart.
Well, fair. So for 2025, is that next year? Jesus.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna get a cat cam. We're gonna film some fun stuff.
That's cool. Yeah, I would love that. That'd be very funny.
See what happens. See who Pablo's real owners are.
Let's okay. That Luigi tattoo thing is so good, but it's got so many songs. I'm just really worried that it's gonna maybe we'll do it right before the end or something, right?
Sure.
I mean, we'll see. All right.
Luigi.
This is Luigi. Let's start with Luigi. Iconic image. I mean, the perp walk with all of these people flanking this person who shot one guy. We know he had thought about like a bomb. He said no to bombs. He didn't want to hurt anybody, any civilians, anybody innocent. And they're making such an example out of him.
This is like he got caught as being the one who did 9/11 right here. Yeah. This is what you would expect if you did 9/11.
I mean, it's insanity. And it backfired because this looks like an album cover. Like I would love that, right? This is pushing him up the ladder even more into some heroic status. People came up with all sorts of great memes. The new Superman preview trailer dropped the same day. So, people did a mashup like that.
Yeah. There's a great AI one of him taking off his vest and it turns in, but we don't want to share AI too much.
I'm so nervous that somebody who steals other people's work through AI will get us shut down, which is what happened last time, right? Like
we got reported for sharing an AI. Fucking goddamn. What a world.
What a world. There's Mayor Eric Adams, who's been indicted for bribery, wire fraud, conspiracy, and solicitation of contributions by a foreign national. And he's walking free as the leader of New York City behind Luigi. I mean, crazy. There was some commentary on how handsome he looked and that maybe he had his eyebrows done and a shape up while he was in lockup.
Oh, he absolutely did. And we have the video. I saw you pulled it. Lila's always pulling so many great clips.
Oh, stop it. We pull everything. You don't need
to. But yeah, that's a prison thing that like when you have the fade and you're taken care of and properly groomed, it's like
it's a signal to
prison law that basically you're looked after by the people in prison. Like everyone's going to take care of you. Don't fuck with this guy because he's looking sharp. He's looking sharp for a reason.
Don't abuse him because we're protecting him. We want him protected. The video is really good. It's interesting. We don't have to play it but because we have so many other videos that are, also really good. But an account called Kissing Whiskey wrote about it or did a TikTok on it because her parents have both been in prison. And she said she knew. I have no idea, but she said this. And then I don't know if you saw, but Torre said the same thing. And I was wondering if he just like took her because his came after hers and but he didn't like give her any credit. I don't know. Anyway, let's see. Okay, what else? We got a Saint Luigi here. This is in his hometown of, oh my God, I really do need my glasses. That's terrible.
Towson, Baltimore County.
Thank you.
At a local pizza shop, Vito's.
Yep.
And I watched I don't know, Instagram, TikTok, probably Instagram because I'm not on TikTok really.
Yeah, me neither.
But some guy walked around with that on a t-shirt and everyone's like, hey, free Luigi. Like, dude, the country is behind this guy. The media needs to stop gaslighting people that we should care because we don't. Yeah. We are on his side entirely on this.
I mean, 100%. And I just don't know do they think they're being effective? Whom are they even doing it for? All this outrage is sort of hilarious, but anyway.
Well, you know what? All right, just to take it back to something personal. My mom was sort of a judge,
Yeah.
And someone at her work got killed by a crazy person, somebody mental stuff.
Right.
And they want that outcry to be the thing. Like it was a mentally ill patient. It was somebody, because you would, I mean, people don't normally feel bad about judges per se, because it's lawyers and whatever, but there's some sort of sense of justice behind it. But like, if you have any knowledge about this guy and the situation, that empathy doesn't exist, and it shouldn't exist. And people see that. And so they're trying to paint it as like somebody just doing his job. He's got wife and his kids. He got promoted to this place. No, they had an AI system that rejected 90% of claims. It failed. It falsely rejected 90% of claims. Fuck him. Glad he's dead.
And United Healthcare rejected 30% of claims. They rejected 32%, I think, more than any other health insurance company. No, they're disgusting. And that is sentencing people to death.
That's violence.
It is violence. Of course it's violence. It's tens of thousands of people killed every year.
And it's violence without recourse. There's no recourse. These people cannot do anything about all these rejected claims because of the structure put in place by capitalism allowing this insurance structure to exist to deny claims, by creating a structure where an insurance company has to please their shareholders by showing they can make more money than last year. And the only way they can make more money than last year is reject more fucking claims. And that's why this guy got promoted. So fuck him. Glad he's dead.
The federal charges mean that he is eligible for the death penalty, which is just insane. I mean, there's been this, I'm going to bounce around just for a second, because there's been this strange new approach tactic to try to make this about identity politics. And that it's white privilege. Like, media's empathetic coverage of Luigi-mania reveals an obsession with humanizing white male suspects, which is hilarious because the media has not actually been involved in trying to humanize him or make this at all. Like they're promoting the narrative to benefit CEOs, that this is despicable and he's a killer. And they talk about how his back pain, prevented him in this article, he couldn't have sex anymore. Like they're doing everything to try to dehumanize him, make him seem crazy. And so, but this is obviously like the newest tactic, that it's white privilege. Meanwhile, he used his white privilege and his enormous wealth, right? Like threw that under the bus to do something that's actually more beneficial for, like, he's a huge class trader, right? He's a multimillionaire, his family is. And instead, he kills a guy who, for a living, killed tens of thousands of people every year by denying them necessary medical help. And they're going with this tactic. And the difference is that the white people, like, yes, of course, there's horrific violence against Black people by our cops and by our system, and Black and brown people. Like, of course there is. But this isn't white privilege.
This is so not white privilege. And look, the fact that he's a white, attractive guy does get this more attention. Right. And valedictorian, like,
right.
Oh my God, the camera thing.
I know.
Fuck, man. I'll green screen it for a second because I'm mad.
Yeah.
So he gets more attention for it, but good. Like, this is a guy who's valedictorian. He's very smart. You can't put this on some poor situation. Like, he grew up and life was hard to him, because he didn't lift himself up from his bootstraps. Or this is a guy who chose to do whatever he did because of the structure, because of the, I don't know. I mean, I'm any race he was, we would have all been behind him. I'm sure, whatever. Like,
I mean, I think so too. I do think his being handsome, like, I think, if he's sort of conventionally handsome, that helps. Like, he has, if he were,
of course,
I'm not going to say other, like, whatever, but of course that's helpful that he's handsome. But
Yeah, but he's not the narrative that, we're pushing him because he's an attractive white guy. Like, no, we're going to push him anyway.
Yeah. And
and
to flip it, the reason he's getting federal charges and as a terrorist is because he killed a white guy and because he killed a rich white guy. That's the problem. Like, all of the shooters who killed whole classrooms of people or went into churches and slaughtered, 9 people, I think 9 churchgoers at a black church down south last year. The white guy, like didn't they bring him for like Burger King on the way there or something? Dylan Roof. I'm probably mixing up all the names of these awful white people who shot up places and did not get terrorism charges or, federal charges that would make them possibly get the death penalty. The way to look at this is that the attention and the level of charge he is getting is because the victim was a white guy who was wealthy. That's the white privilege.
And we all know it. It's totally because this is a risk at the whole capitalist structure of going after the people at the top. That's the thing.
Yep.
It's the people at the top.
Yep. Okay. So I'm sorry, because I'm trying to read everybody's comments, but also I'm seeing the time and I want to make sure that we get through some of the stuff. Crazy that his new defense attorney, not the kind of bumbling guy that we showed on Sunday, but this new one is actually, her name is Karen, darn it. I had it written down and now I can't remember. Karen somebody.
Over here? No, it's not on that one.
It's on the wait, it's on that one
federal charges.
I was asking you about why it was a project or why it was, this guy right here. Karen Friedman Agnifilo. Okay, so here are some Orthodox Jewish men who are also standing outside the courthouse and they are protesting the treatment and the arrest and, the federal charges against him. But they're saying something about plot exposed. And so I went down a whole rabbit hole trying to figure out why they were saying that the plot was exposed. And it seems like possibly some people think that because this Karen woman used to be, worked for the city DA, was a prosecutor, and she's always on corporate media. And before she was hired to be his attorney, she seemed to accept all of the circumstantial evidence against him and said something about him being probably tried as, criminally insane or something.
His best defense is insanity because there's so much evidence against him.
Right. Which all the evidence is really circumstantial, but anyway, so I think that might've been like the plot that they're referring to. I'm not sure, but I do think it's interesting that she's married to P. Diddy's lawyer and that he's in the same prison as Diddy and Sam Bankman-Fried. Just kind of like somebody was like, oh, he has the chance to do the most amazing thing.
Right.
It's like,
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. Look, we'll have to look in and follow all this stuff. I don't put anything past, I personally think he's the guy probably who did it, but there's the Patsy theory too. We'll have to follow where all this goes, but there is a lot of evidence that he probably did this.
Yeah.
But the idea that he has all the opportunity in front of him there are so many great lawyers that would come out and defend him pro bono for the stature and for being such a big case. So
if she starts fucking it
I don't
up
think he's stuck with her.
Yeah.
If there's, I think, I don't know, we'll see where it goes, but don't trust any of it, follow it all. But I think,
they're already very worried that there possibly be difficult to find a good jury because there's so much sympathy for him that possibly stealth jurors will be there who will have the jury nullification
let us hope
in their mind,
let
but
us hope.
Don't say anything about it.
Exactly. First rule of jury nullification is you don't bring up jury nullification.
100%.
And if you have on your social media something about this already, just don't lie about it. If you can get on without bringing it up,
yeah,
that's one thing. But you don't lie during jury voir dire. Like, did I sound French there?
Voir dire. I mean,
damn it.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, that's how Americans say voir dire. But
yeah,
you were. I like it.
But when you can't lie during that process, that can cause a mistrial. So just be honest during the entire process. Be honest, but don't,
you don't have to reveal your whole soul. Just,
don't answer their questions. Like pretend you're talking to a cop.
Yeah. Shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up.
Mostly.
There was a moment that was sort of funny. And, I mean, I am sure that the response from the writer of this article about what happened during SNL's news thing with Colin Jost last night is true. But when I actually watched just the clip before I read this article, and I thought that I actually didn't take away that Colin Jost thought that it was wrong that they were cheering necessarily. Like, I can never read him. I mean, I know he's a blib, whatever. But the takeaway from a lot of people was when Colin Jost mentioned Luigi Mangione, the crowd immediately erupted into cheers, which is absolutely true. And of course, Piers Morgan, who's a, asshole, sympathizer to all the worst people in the world, took issue with it. But when people were cheering, Joe says, yeah, definitely woo. You're wooing for justice, right? And when I saw that, and I guess I'm just giving him way too much, benefit for being a good person. But I thought that Jost was like a little bit saving himself from that response and being like, he
wasn't scolding his audience. I watched
didn't think, but I have no idea. I didn't take it the way that they're taking it. You agree with me? Look at that.
I think so too. I don't know for sure, but
I think maybe he thought it was a bigger response than he thought it was going to be, where then he had to kind of be like, take it back a little, or, like just temper it a little bit. But I didn't get that he was thinking that they were so out of line.
I don't think the one thing we don't need to do is exaggerate our position on the left. Like, there's plenty of support out there. So just let's stick to it.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was telling that articles were even being written about that, because that's basically supporting our side when they're writing an article saying the public is more left of SNL. So like seeing that article and seeing that narrative is probably good for our side, but it crosses the line of being good when it's not true. And somebody sees it and they're like, oh, it's not true. I saw it. So the media is lying to us again, so that's why honesty, be honest with them.
Always be honest. Always be true. All right. Well, let's look at some of these. Like, one of the best things that has happened from all of this is, I think a lot of people are feeling just like a glimmer of hope that possibly CEOs realize how completely they are loathed. I think for a long time where it was like, what was it, like the trick this out, and like everything was about like getting like the rich and famous, like everything was about like the exaltation of the people who were the wealthiest and the most famous and beautiful, and the lifestyles, where did they live? And I think though that group of people, that echelon, is realizing how much we despise them, and that's lovely. So there's been a lot of creativity in response.
It's the first possible check on don't be exploitive of people, and like it's the first check on capitalism, like publicly. I think like the government. You got Bernie came along and said, hey, everyone's feeling this.
Yeah.
But then, it was like, whatever, we can get rid of Bernie.
Yeah.
But you can't get rid of 20,000 Luigis if we end up getting 20,000 Luigis.
Oh, and by the way, because they are worried about copycat killers, which is why they're doing all this crazy stuff. There already was something that, I don't know if it was a copycat, but a CEO was stabbed during a meeting in Michigan. So like, how much more separate can they, are they going to just do everything from their bunkers and their limousines? I don't know. but
yeah, well, the most important thing is that number 2, 3, 4, 5 are people that are violent people. Like this killer that worked for UHC is a violent person because he killed so many people. Like you can't just go to work and have a bad boss and kill him and blame this guy. Right. We need the victims. We would hope are deserving. So let's just hope that let's hope the first 5 at least are deserving.
Right. All right. So we've got a whole thing. What do you want to show first? Do you have a feel? What do you
I don't even know. I'm so confused having to push media assets over here.
I know, me too. I keep doing the same thing. Why did they change names? I don't like change.
They didn't fix anything. They just changed names. Like this is capitalism right here. They're like $3 more a month.
I need to justify
fix things.
Justify my job. New tab. All right. I'm gonna show this one.
When I was a kid, we didn't murder CEOs. They just gave us each a penny, and we did what we were told. They don't care how many people they watch work themselves to death. The only thing they're scared of is a bullet in the chest. Monopoly money, they spend it like it's nothing. A mansion in heaven, a couple politicians. Monopoly money, I kinda think it's funny. You buy your way to heaven, but you got out the rest of us. When I was a kid, they told me I could buy a home. I could give myself a family, I could and then grow old. They don't care how many people they step on to get ahead. The only thing they're scared of is a bullet in the head. Monopoly money, they spend it like it's nothing.
Moonwalker. Love that.
I love all, like, there's so many songs coming out. Like,
we should have not talked for the last hour and a half and just shown all these. They're so good.
We have a pile of them. I think we should play one more at least.
Yeah.
Because they're going to go to waste. We'll have better songs next week. So,
yeah. All right.
There's an office and a building and a person and a chair, and you paid for it all, though you may be unaware. You paid for the paper, you paid for the phone, you paid for everything they need to deny you what you're owed. There ain't no you in United Health, there ain't no me in the company, there ain't no us in the private trust. There's hardly humans in humanity. Now the procedure that you're needing ain't the cost-effective route, and only 2% of people end up winning a dispute. So if you get sick, pray to God for help, cause your doctor's gotta pray to United Health. Way back in 77, Mr. Richard T. Burke started buying HMOs, putting federal grants to work, made 50 billion buckaroos. Last year the Warren Buffett of health, the Jeff Bezos of fear. Now CEOs come and go, and one just went. The ingredient you got, bake the cake you get. But if you get sick, cross your fingers for luck, cause old Richard T. Burke ain't giving a fuck. Commoditized health, monopolized fraud. Here's the doctors we own and the research we bought. They own the pharmacies and a lot of the meds. They should start buying graves to sell us when we're all dead. There ain't no you in United Health, there ain't no me in the company, there ain't no us in the private trust. There's hardly humans in humanity. There's hardly humans in humanity.
Did we play that last week?
I don't think we did, because he's had a few. I think
I think we played a different one of his songs, but
because we might have,
we'll play
I think we need another song.
My sister can't afford a house, and she thinks it's her fault. She says if she worked harder, she'd have money in the vault. And my mother needs a surgery, her hand's always in pain. But she fell ill last April and used up all her sick days. They say the homeless need to disappear, extract them like a tumor, a stain on our society. They're all broken consumers. Don't try to put the blame on us, they ruin their own lives.
Yeah, it's like punk rock and folk, and it's all so good. And yes, I think she was dressed like Luigi. Okay, this one's a little slightly longer, but it's also really good because then we're going to just talk about the Amazon strike. So we want to make sure that we just get to our 4 songs, right?
Do it.
All right. So this just so because I can't type fast enough. Thomas Francis Folk.
There's a manhunt in Manhattan as I ride in Central Park, and the man I kill will be symbolic pain of the country that's growing dark. I'll fire 3 silent shots that'll break the Christmas air, and you'll see me smiling like a Starbucks siren as I kill the billionaire. I stood over the CEO, wished him good health. I'll dispose of those who deny my life and defend your stolen wealth. And I carved it on the bullet shells and heard the sirens down the road. Now there's a manhunt in Manhattan, and it's time for me to go. And I hopped onto my electric bike and headed to the Greyhound station. The monopoly money that I'll leave behind will be a clue to a broken nation. Play a bloody game, you might win a bloody prize. And the CEO knows more than most, you'll make a killing, dead or alive. He's crying low and behold, he's pounding on his coffin ceiling. He's praying that Peter will let him in, but I don't think the good Lord's willing.
They don't know what's coming. They don't know what's coming. Well, they might know, but they think they might not be able to. They might be able to squash it or something. And look, you can't build enough cop cities. The situation is too dire.
God, I hope so. I mean, I hope so.
And I love that song.
Yeah.
But when he had that first phrase where he's like, kill a billionaire, I was like, let's make that a chorus. Is that going to be the chorus?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that was the missing chorus, but he didn't want to go that.
I mean, because then they'll arrest him on terrorism charges, right? Like if a woman can't say deny, delay, and depose, brought up on charges, terrorism charges. I mean, they're trying their hardest to offset what they know is coming for them. All right, we are 3 days to Christmas, and as promised, Amazon went on strike. And it started in New Jersey or New York, Staten Island, and it has spread. Let's just get a very quick overview of what's going on.
Apparently, Jeff Bezos owns 1.2 billion shares of Amazon. Do the people here, do they own millions of shares of Amazon?
No
do
shares.
They? No
shares at all.
That doesn't make any sense to me because you guys are the ones that deliver the pay. You are Amazon, right?
Yes, sir. We are Amazon. We are the face of this company.
You know, one thing I learned is that Jeff Bezos owns 1.2 billion shares of Amazon. Do all the workers own billions of shares? Do they own any shares?
No, we don't even get Amazon Prime.
You're kidding. You don't get Amazon Prime.
No.
But you are Amazon Prime.
Yes.
Do you think that Jeff Bezos and the other Amazon shareholders could do your job?
Absolutely not. I don't think they would last a day. They actually make some of the trainers here run one route a year. The step van trainers, a few other people higher ups here do have to run routes, and they say they don't know how we do it. They do it once a year, and they can barely survive that one route, and they commend us on our day in and day out service.
Do you think Jeff Bezos and the Amazon shareholders, do you think that they could do your job?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But they want all the profit. off of our anguish and our sweat. You need to negotiate with us. You need to recognize your drivers. I want job security, Jeff Bezos. I've been here 6 years delivering for you in California. I want job security so I know I have a place here. As I'm getting older, I'm going to be 44 soon. I want to know that I have a place here delivering your packages in another 6 years, because I still have a lot of hustle in me. And I want other drivers to know that they are appreciated. Inside this warehouse, there's a big blue banner, and it says, "Thank you for your hard work and dedication." I want to feel the meat and potatoes behind that sign, so every day when I leave this facility, I know that I am really, truly recognized for my hard work and dedication, as well as my coworkers.
God, that kills me. Her saying, "I still have so much hustle left in me, and I want to work hard." Like it's so despicable. Their working conditions and like backbreaking work. More on the job injuries happen at Amazon, and especially during the
highest
holiday
rate in the
season.
nation of all industries. And think about this, like when your job produces something, it costs nothing for that job to give it out. And to not have Amazon Prime as an Amazon employee, like that part stings the most, because
I have
that's
to tell you, me too. It's so small, but it's the thing that I keep thinking about. Like they don't have Amazon Prime. They are Amazon Prime.
They are Amazon Prime. They could just give it to them. But then also it's like, but so many people work for fucking Amazon. They're just like looking at the profit, like
around
so
the
many,
world.
We have consumed so many other industries and so many employees, and like it would actually cost us a little bit of money to do this. So let's just not give them our shit for free. Like I can't imagine, there's no company, like you have to be, I'm not down on your luck, but like your last resort, like to work for a company like this that won't give you their own discount for their shit. Like you have to go to work every day and like think they won't throw us a fucking $75 bone to get our own shit for free and be happier about our company. You won't even give us the fucking that. You won't give us that, you fucking cocksuckers. Fucking die. Like I just.
Yeah. I mean, it's so outrageous. They don't have any there's no like food being given to them. They get no discounts, nothing. And sometime this came out 20 years ago, I think, or like at the very beginning. I think it was actually 2008 or 9. So 15 years ago, that the punch out clock was often half a mile from the station where they worked.
Built-in walking.
Yeah. So you like
fucking evil.
Wait,
You're
no,
late.
I'm getting that wrong. Yeah. Or you punch in and then you had to walk to where the punching clock is, whatever it was. It was like
the
rigged,
long walk was to check in.
And then
the checking out is right there in front of your face, so that you're maximizing every fucking second of corporate greed.
And I think, there's one great account on here on Twitter that I think a lot of us are mutuals with, Amazon Piss Jugs, because that was another thing really early on, that they didn't get bathroom breaks, or the bathroom was so far away, like the same thing with the punch clock, that like that
get you demerit.
And it ate into your 15-minute break if you ever got one. Like you're not going to walk all that way just to the bathroom. Like why? And just as a reminder, Jeff Bezos made I'm putting my glasses on because I want to know if it's an 8 or a 9, because it's just $9 million per hour in 2023.
The guy making $7.9 million an hour can't give his own employees something that probably would cost the company $2.
It costs them nothing. By the way, they're there. $2. Like they can just pick up whatever they want for free. And what, you're going to stream something for free? Like what's Amazon Prime anyway, right? It's your shipping is free and your streaming service. The streaming service costs them nothing. That's already a loss for them anyway. And it's just like an extra code that you're just giving to people. It costs them nothing. And it is just so grotesque.
But they're such a good example of capitalism and how fucked this system is, because they're the winners at it so far. Elon Musk, Amazon, there are few companies at the top, and they're controlling fucking everything. So they're going to benefit and benefit and benefit. But to not give your employees a perk that costs you next to nothing, because
it's on purpose.
That's how thin the margin is. They are maximizing. They have fucked people over so hard that's where we're at. Like, you know.
Yep. Yeah. And, you know, it was just announced that this next weekend, right? Yeah, next weekend. $600 million Aspen wedding for Jeff Bezos, who, you know, 2 years ago shot a rocket up into the air and thanked his employees for putting him there. Like, just basically, like, it's just throwing away however many hundreds of dollars
that we all have in our head, but he's up there for me.
Luigi. And I mean, there's video of this, but hours into the beginning of the strike, police held hands, formed a wall to block the strikers from blocking the driveway so the scabs that Amazon hired could go in and out of the warehouse. Right?
Yeah, so what the fuck are police doing this for? Like,
well, yeah,
this is not a private security firm. This is our tax dollar going to protect Jeff Bezos
and his billions,
his money, basically. Yeah.
And then I don't know if we pulled video, and then I don't even know if we ended up. Oh yeah, this is also, it's freezing there. It's New York. They're set up. They've got, you know, whenever you're on a strike line, their tables set up with, they have snacks and water and check-ins. So, you know, you show that you're there and all that kind of stuff. So right by one of the tables, this is what Amazon
Well, they just opened the sprinkler release, and we were just like, oh, here, because as you see, we're sitting down here, like, I believe they did that because what we're doing is having an effect. So they're just, you know, being petty right now. But that's not going to stop us. We're going to keep fighting. And honestly, you know, that's a safety hazard. They shouldn't be doing something like that. All my 2 years here, I've never seen that open like that. So just, we're going to be out here fighting.
And Amazon's just pretending this doesn't exist. They're pretending that there's no union.
Fine. Wow, I didn't know that. 17 degrees this morning in New York City. So water's coming out. They're walking through water now. All of their probably like snacks and water, all that stuff is just getting flooded with water. They're freezing. That has to be illegal, right?
An act of terrorism right there. You are trying to tell every employee, I could freeze you to death. I could, you know, like it's blatantly illegal. Like if we have any sort of system of justice, someone at Amazon goes to jail for that and is charged and perp walked in public immediately.
Yep. I mean, can you imagine? Because that's Lex Luthor seeing Jeff Bezos in orange. I mean, that's who that kind of police force and, you know, manpower should be used for. And instead they're protecting him. Yeah. A water hazard and an ice hazard. And exactly. I mean, it's all the same tactics and they all learn from each other, right? It was the same things that they did with those hoses at Standing Rock. Same thing they did during the civil rights movement. Man, it's just disgusting. And they'll pay a fine if anything happens at all. But of course, the NLRB, I mean, you know, for the most pro-union president in our lifetime and whatever the fuck, why did they form a union 2 years ago and Amazon still hasn't been forced to come to the table? Like, why isn't there a window of opportunity beyond which you start accruing? I don't know. Let's do, like, Jeff Bezos, what do you make in a day? Everything that you make in a day, we're going to start taking from you. Like something, there's got to be a consequence. There's nothing. Like they've just ignored it. It was this huge win 2 years ago. We celebrated the huge win and they have not come to the table to work out a contract.
Nope, but I'm happy to see solidarity across other factories and warehouses. Like this is growing beyond just New York and some of the other strikers. Like there's solidarity. And I personally bought nothing on Amazon this year for Christmas, not one fucking thing. And I won't. And I really try not to use Amazon much. I do occasionally because capitalism, this is the world we live in.
Yeah.
But I'm doing everything I can to not, because fuck them. And I will never go to Starbucks. Do not ever go to fucking Starbucks. Fuck them. Don't go to Walmart. You know, if you as always, the caveat is if you need to survive and you're struggling and you need to save money, do whatever the fuck you want.
Yep.
But steal from them first.
Of course. Yeah. I mean that, if you see someone
honestly,
shoplifting, no, you didn't. Sorry. I'm just like trying to read everybody's comments as we go back. Okay, to
most importantly, never cross the picket line.
Never cross the picket line. Okay, and this is where, and again, like it's so hard because I think we try to show people on here or politicians or speakers like who like we feel majority support for, and there were things with Sean O'Brien and Sean Fain that I think we both took some issue with. And yet I just, I don't want to be so pure that we can never like amplify or talk up some part of it that's good, right? So like Sean O'Brien, even though maybe he didn't have to do the thing of like, oh, Trump's such a tough guy because he got back up after he was hit by a bullet, but he's representing many of his union members, the rank and file, who are Trump supporters, right? And he tried to go to the DNC. They didn't want him. He also went to the RNC and they did want him. And it was a smart strategy. And Amazon Union, ALU, has joined the Teamsters, which is great, right? Like we need mass. And so he's there showing up. He now has had the ear of high up Republicans. He is there with people who are striking and he's speaking. And so, the hope is that, I mean, I hope he leverages this power.
If you get the Teamsters all supporting Amazon.
Yeah.
And then you that changes Amazon contracts a little bit, but then that grows to the next big industry also joins. And then you got millions and millions of people willing to stand up for a smaller business. Like that's how we change things. That's the only power we have right now. That and murdering CEOs. What do you want? You want to raise our rates? You want CEOs to, that's like the public's power.
I mean, it truly is. And when you see that the cops are breaking the strike and forcing the strikers to allow scabs to cross the picket line. Like
you're showing us blatantly the cops are on their side. The same cops that perp walked the guy that killed the CEO are like, at all costs, Amazon truck must get,
Bezos. Yeah.
So,
So here is
peaceful
Sean,
revolution impossible. You make violent revolution inevitable, or something similar.
Something like that said by someone like JFK.
Mainstream media is controlling a narrative, not a working person's narrative. So if anybody is trying to tilt the scales towards Amazon and get sympathy for Amazon, it's mainstream media.
Why now at Christmas time? Why this? I mean, could this have been put off until after the holiday? You're leveraging Santa.
Come out and talk to Main Street America, Main Street workers. Talk to them and find out how deplorable the conditions are, how the lowest paid in the industry, and how they have minimal benefits. Yet people forget that through the toughest times, through the pandemic, these same workers were providing goods and services to keep America working. And you know what? Amazon can have any charade they want and any narrative they want, but the truth remains that Amazon is not a good employer. They're not a good person in the community. They focus on distressed communities. They focus on preying on the weak. We're no longer going to allow that to happen. The Teamsters Union did not cause this problem. Amazon caused this problem with their corporate greed. They need to smarten up, get to the table, and reward the people that make them the success that they are.
I just am always happy to hear any sort of militant language. And on the strike line last year, both with the Writers Guild and with Screen Actors Guild, it felt so different from the strike just 14 years before. You know, it was younger, it was diverse, it was militant. The way people were talking, you know, they're much more plugged in. Because they're younger and they're on social media, and their lives have sucked. If you're in your 20s right now, you've only known war and economic hardship. You don't have any hope of owning your own home. Like there's you don't have health care, you don't have job stability, you don't have rent. You have to have a couple jobs. Like all of that has made them really very knowledgeable on, or look more towards revolutionary tactics. And
and you couple that with seeing both parties so blatantly fucking not give a shit about their situations and lie to them and be proven liars immediately over and over and over. And I keep saying this, like the next couple years are going to be volatile as hell.
Yep.
And they can't put it down. I don't know where it goes. That's a big fucking mystery, but violence.
You don't want to overlearn the lesson.
So if this last violence bothered you, hurry up, hurry the fuck up, because there's a lot more violence coming.
Yeah.
It's the only thing they've let work. It's just like Palestine, you know. You've removed every option of hoping that I'll put my faith in you.
Opposition.
Well, they put your faith in you 4 years ago, 8 years ago, and then everybody knows you're not going to solve this shit.
Yep.
So vigilante fucking everything is what's coming.
100%. You guys, I think we did it. Did we do it? I mean, we didn't get to Israel, but I feel like we're kind of leaving on a bit of I'm fine waiting. I mean, it's all awful. Like, it's awful. There's nothing good that's happened. They're bombing more schools. Every day, I can't believe the number of shredded children we're still seeing. It never ends. But I think we're not going to delve into a whole new subject now, right? Is that what you're thinking?
No, we can't get into Israel right now. But
we should leave on a bit of optimism, and
the optimism is that people are recognizing their power, both in Amazon and all these strikes, and there's no faith left in the system. And that's the optimism, is that around us are all these sparks of like fucking any one of these sparks can go off into something huge.
Yeah.
And when you couple that with the labor movement, you couple that with CEO murder, you couple that with looking around and seeing the cop city, you couple that with all this stuff, and like people that shouldn't be upset that have comfy lives are upset. And you get them on board and you have a real fucking movement. And revolution, I don't know what it's going to look like, but it is a powder keg, as Devin said. It's like, it's going to blow. Like something's good. Next couple of years are going to be crazy. I'm telling you.
I think, my hope would have been for CEOs to wake up and government to wake up and realize the way FDR did, right? He was a total capitalist. It wasn't like he didn't necessarily come in thinking he was going to do all these big, broad social programs for all of the faults that they had. But he saw what the other option would be, which would be pitchforks. So my hope had been that there would be a little bit of a relearning of that history. and it hasn't been. And so the two options now seem to be horrible violence.
Because they haven't learned, and the constant in this situation is Trump, fascist Trump, who is fascist, clearly.
Yep.
Arguably more so than other people, but regardless of that, his response is not going to be incorporate the revolution into his solution.
No.
But we know it's going to get more toxic and escalate, which is, that's the situation we're in right now. It's going to more people are going to fight. They're going to push back harder on us. And that push back harder on us is going to cause more people to join the resistance, but like not pussy hat resistance. I think.
Yeah, it will not be a nice little parade. It's going to be brutal, because he is already saying anybody protesting, deported, and terrorism, and the Democrats have only helped in the endeavor of that by helping build all the cop cities that they're building, 63 across the country right now. And the ones that are most prominent are in Democratic cities and states. And the definition of what makes a person a terrorist was broadened by Biden, and the crackdowns of peaceful protesters happened under Democratic mayors in Democratic states. And they pretend that they're for civil liberties, and Trump doesn't even pretend. So as bad as it's been under Democrats, and we're in it now, for people, we're in it now. We are in an oligarchy where protest is illegal, where the cops are very clearly only standing up for the oligarchs. We're here. So yeah.
Yeah, we're here, and there's nothing. I don't see how the reaction to anything that's going to come is going to do anything but escalate it. So that's where we're headed. The escalation is built into the system right now.
Yep.
So that's a good thing. It's a scary thing too. Be safe.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's scary. Be safe and be aware. And, that solidarity, speaking up, showing people that you're there. Obviously we see you guys and you do that. And as much as possible, I think we all just need to, there's a couple picket lines I'm hitting at the end of this week. And any way you can show solidarity, I think, is the way to move forward.
Amen.
Amen. There's still so many good videos, but we'll have more next Sunday. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays to anybody who celebrates anything. Hold your loved ones tight, because life is precarious, and we love you guys. I'm going to finish this bottle of wine on my own. Keep punching up. We'll see you next Sunday.
Cheers. We'll see you soon. We're going out on Amazon, because support the hell out of them.
Yeah.
See you guys Sunday. Cheers.
People are excited for this strike. We've been waiting for this day. We've been prepping for this day. This is the day that they get to see how strong we are.
This is our chance to truly make history.
Teamsters have voted to authorize a strike at 7 Amazon facilities. Those include warehouses in Staten Island and Queens, the Chicago suburb of Skokie, and 4 in Southern California.
Amazon doesn't want us to realize the power that we have as Amazon workers. It wouldn't be able to run without us.
Amazon is scared because they know that with the power of the union, they're going to have to dish out what they owe.
Amazon needs to understand that there's real people behind these vans. There's real people in these warehouses, and they need to treat us with the dignity that we deserve.
These right here, we're fighting for our life.
We're fighting for our family.
We are Amazon Teamsters. We deliver the packages.
We make Amazon's profits.
We're demanding our fair share. We demand fair pay and safe jobs.